What is up, everybody? Welcome to Rev Time. Today I want to talk about, Klon pedals, but more specifically, what would be kind of an alternative, or what, if you're not into Klon pedals, and I'm not saying I'm not, but if you're not really into a Klon pedal, what would be a cool alternative, or what would I use as an alternative? Now, as I mentioned, this isn't about not being into Klon pedals. I think they sound great. There's much ado about those pedals. I used one for years. I've kind of gravitated away from it a bit. At some point, I'm sure I'll circle back around and start using them more. But lately, I've just been into different kind of tonalities. And usually for me, when I use like a Klon pedal, I don't, when I had mine, I didn't use it for gain. From the standpoint of like saturation, I used it more just to create a more kind of pushed tone. And it sounded great. Now, there are guys that use them for actual gain or saturation, and they're fine. But for me, I always used it to either push an amp or almost be always on, or maybe to push other boxes. So I just thought it might be fun to get out a different pedal. This one is by Crazy Tube Circuits. They're out there in Greece, and this one's called the Stardust, and it's really kind of based on like the Fender circuits. So I'll just show you kind of what I've got going on. I'm using the Revv Generator 120 and the green channel, and the way I've got it dialed is more, because I tend to be more of a blues player, so I like that second channel, and I'll put up a shot, but I've got it with no drive mode. Basically, the gain and treble are at noon, the mid's bumped a little bit, the bass is turned down, and the bright switch is on. And I'm actually using the amp's reverb. And the way I would normally use a Klon pedal would be to just create a bit more push into the amp. So in this case, instead of using a Klon, I'm using this Stardust pedal. So you can hear it's obviously giving it a little bit more, sting. It's definitely pushes a little bit more gain. But if I go to the clean channel and just show you what I'm doing with the pedal, there's really not much actual gain happening from the pedal. Just a little bit. And generally, that's what I'll do with a Klon pedal. I could add more gain or even more volume just to kind of push harder, maybe some more top. So when I go back to the green channel that already has some breakup, it's a mild breakup, I can just add this to it. And then for me, I can dial accordingly. If that seems like it's maybe a little too bright, I can just tweak it in the same way I would a Klon. This isn't as barky as a Klon, so it's to each his own. Like I said, this is just kind of an alternative. This is more, like I said, kind of a Fender circuit, so it's not going to have quite that mid-range bark, but it still adds a really cool character. Now, it does have a switch on it. Right now, it's in what would be considered like a Vibrolux setting. If you wanted more of a kind of a deluxe reverb push, or maybe more of a basement. It's got some more low end. Man, I can't get my fingers to do anything today, but you get the idea. It's really not to compare it to a Klon. A Klon's got it, does its own thing. Like I said, this is more of kind of a Fender type circuit, but it works great as a push box. Now, obviously, you can use, tube screamers. You can use, straight ahead boosts. There's all kinds of things that you can use. Sometimes I like to have just a little bit of clipping into an amp as opposed to just boost. It just depends on, what you're using. Yeah, I just wanted to, put this out there as, what I would use as an alternative to like a Klon style pedal. This thing is pretty cool. This is an alternative to that. I think the Rocket pedal Blue Note is killer for that. That's a little bit more of like a kind of Fender voice. If you wanted to, push an amp that way, that's a really cool sounding one. But it's to each his own. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you dig Klon pedals. Like I said, they're kind of the magical miss, especially the real ones. But then there's like bazillions of clones out there, and some of them are just so spot on. So let me know if you guys are fans of Klons, especially if you're metal players. Would you lean into a Klon, or would you be more apt to use something like a tube screamer to push like a high gain channel? I don't feel like this would work as well because it does add some low ends. So I don't know that this would be as much of a fit for like a high gain channel. But for what I'm doing here, I think it works really well. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. And as always, I really appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you next time.